Hello YouTube, it's Iron here with Hobbies of Man once again, and it's the start of a new month, so it's time for the to be read video, the TBR video for the month of November. So the TBR this month is going to be a little bit smaller because last month I overshot my abilities to read, and I also have tests this month, so there's going to be a little bit of a downturn in the amount of reading time that I have because I have to study more, right? So the thing is that there's also Thanksgiving, and I have a week off of Thanksgiving, so all the time that I lose, I recoup on Thanksgiving, but most of the time, Thanksgiving week, I spend with my family in my parents' house, and so I don't actually get as much reading time as you would think. So the TBR is going to be a bit small this month compared to previous months, and I do leave myself a lot of alternative title space, a lot of extra books that I might want to read or that I decide to read instead of what I have on my TBR, just in case, because things happen. I do have a tendency to read things that I didn't plan on reading. So it is what it is. Let's get into it. Let's start with the novels. So I have to finish Second Chance Swordsman. I do owe my buddy a review. So Second Chance Swordsman is a lit RPG cultivation type of story. It follows a guy who is a soldier in a war. He dies in that war and gets reincarnated into an earlier part of his timeline with some extra, boons here and there. And so he decides to start training way earlier. And so we see him spend a long time, doing cultivation, solo, like leveling up type activities. So if you like things like solo leveling, you should check this out. It's pretty good. And yeah, I have read about the first 10 to 15% of it, so I do have a long way to go, but it's a very easy read, so I probably will finish it very, very soon, as long as I continuously go back to read it, right? So, yeah. Then I have a bunch of physical novels, so let's go over here. I have The Lord of Goblins, number 3. I was supposed to review this in October, but I didn't because I didn't get around to reading it. So definitely want to get back to it and read this and get the review out for Michael. So yeah. Then Fallen Star. This is the last adult novel in the first phase of the High Republic, and I'm really excited to get into it. It's a little bit shorter than the other two, so hopefully it's an easier read. I probably will leave this for Thanksgiving week though, because I'm in no rush to get to this bit of Star Wars content that is significantly lower on the continuity and canon totem pole than all of the other meaningful Star Wars stuff that I'm getting right through Andor and Tales of the Jedi and everything else that's going to come down the pipeline here. So yeah, I'm in no rush, but I do want to read it this month. So Star Wars High Republic, number 3. Then Our World's Magic. I need to get around to reading this. My buddy C.M. McDivitt sent it to me, so I really do want to do my best to show him my appreciation by reading it as soon as I can. It's not a very long novel, and the typeface and the stuff in it is not that huge, so it should be a really easy read once I get around to doing so. And then the novel I'm probably most excited to read this month is The Return of Tarzan, which is Tarzan number 2 out of 24. And I just am in a bit of a Edgar Rice Burroughs kick, so I do want to read this. And it's also kind of because there's this new Tarzan comic book coming out, and I want to be a little bit more in the know about Tarzan before I really get into reading that comic book. So, yeah, let's see. This one is basically right at the end of Tarzan of the Apes. Tarzan decides that he's not going to marry Jane because she wants a certain type of lifestyle, and his cousin Clayton can give it to her much easier than he can. And so he renounces his love for her. And it says here that he decides that civilization holds no pleasure, and so he's back to the African jungle. So apparently, once he's there, he hears about Opar, the city of gold, which is part of Atlantis or something like that. And apparently it's a city of hideous men and of beautiful savage women who are reigned over by Law, high priestess of the flaming god. And it seems to be some sort of like really interesting hidden city kind of thing, which is always really fun. So yeah, it's also, I think, the first hidden lost civilization plot line that Tarzan is involved in. There's like 3 or 4 other ones throughout the 24 book run, which is exciting. So yeah, Tarzan, The Return of Tarzan, book 2 in the Tarzan series. So yeah, and a bit of an alternative title here is actually The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I read about 60 pages of it, 70 pages of it, which is about a third of the way through. I didn't really like it, but I do want to finish reading it because, I don't know, it's just not fair to start a book and not finish it and, you know, try to form an opinion on it. Like, with manga, I feel like it's a little bit different because it's not justifiable to buy the whole manga series sometimes, most times, when they're like over 5-6 volumes, you know, because most manga goes into like 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100 volumes. So I think it's fair to drop manga halfway through the story because you still, you know, got through a bit of it. But I kind of don't feel like that with novels, especially short ones like this. So I do want to get around to finishing it at some point. So I will add it to the list here in case I manage to get around to it. So yeah, then in terms of comic books, I only have one that I want to read this month. It's Dark One. It's a Brandon Sanderson comic book. It's published by Vault. And I have a few alternative titles that I might want to read. And I do have some comic book content that's coming to the channel, mostly about the Frank Frazetta universe that Opus and Incendium are doing. But I've already read those. I'm not going to read them again for the reviews. So it's not the same kind of thing. So Dark One is the only comic book that I have on my TBR right now. But of course, I'm going to be reading my weekly comic books as they come out. So yeah, then in terms of digital manga, I have 2 books. I have, 2 sets. I have Devil's Line 1 through 3. This was supposed to be part of the Halloween theme, but I didn't get around to it, so I'll do it now in November. And yeah, I bought them because they were cheap a long time ago. They're the only books I have left over from 2021 in my Bookwalker collection, so I definitely want to get rid of them. So whenever I look for unread or reading books on my collection, I can I won't see them anymore. So yeah, I did read like half of the first volume. I wasn't really interested, but you know, that's just because I don't really like vampires all that much. So hopefully, if I get around to it again, I will like it a little bit more. As long as I don't take myself too seriously while reading it, I think it'll be fine. And the other digital manga that I want to read this month is Bleach. Now, specifically, I just want to read the first 50 chapters in the Arrancar saga, which is Arrancar saga. I don't know. I want to say it in Spanish, but no one no one does that. So I'm just gonna say Arrancar like everyone else does. Which is the Arrival arc. It's 184 to 230. It's about 50 chapters. So yeah, I want to read that part of the story because I do really enjoy Bleach, even though it's, you know, not as epic as Naruto or One Piece in my opinion. I do still really enjoy it. So hopefully I can like that as well. So yeah, then let's move on to the physical stuff. So I do have a few different things. So first of all, The Beginning After the End, Volume 1. This is a really small book comparatively for the price, especially when you're comparing it to Solo Leveling or the, what's the other ones? Like the Issei Press ones. This is still under Yen Press, but it's really, really skinny. And I'm just guessing that's due to the Tapas licensing costs and stuff like that, which I find kind of weird because if I remember correctly, Tapas is a free website, so it's kind of weird to charge so much. But, you know, it is what it is. Now, I don't know too much about The Beginning After the End, except for the fact that it's written by someone and it was published on Amazon for a long time. And I think you can still get it on Amazon as like a self-published kind of work. Eventually, someone picked it up for a comic adaptation, and this is kind of a webtoon style thing. And it's actually very similar to Mushoku Tensei as well, so that's kind of interesting. Let's read the back of it here just to see kind of what it says. So it says, experience the hit fantasy comic finally in print. King Gray is a remarkable ruler with a prosperous reign, and yet opulence and success cannot bury emptiness and solitude. His time as king, however, comes to an abrupt end, and he is reincarnated as Arthur Lewin, a baby born in a world of magic and monsters. Equipped with memories of his previous life and the desire to protect the newfound warmth surrounding him, Art begins his journey to becoming a strong warrior once again. Sword training, mana core formation, magic studies. Art does it all in order to be as powerful as he can be, but will it be enough to repel the dangerous forces that threaten his second chance of life? So, yeah, it does feel very Mushoku Tensei-esque. It also kind of feels a little bit like Faraway Paladin. And I really like those type of isekai stories. I really enjoy those, like reborn as a baby, start training from the beginning kind of stories. Although I don't know how it's going to translate to a comic book, because in a novel that's really easy to do. It's like still interesting, right? But as a comic book, it might get kind of boring if you're just like going through this kid's life, right? So I don't know, but I'm excited to get into it. So that's beginning after the end of volume 1. And some stuff that I basically just want to get caught up to. Crazy Food Truck number 2. Really excited about this one. I'm curious to see where it goes, because this is the second book in the three manga volume series. So it's about the halfway point. And I'm curious to see how they're going to deal with it, because the end of the first volume tells us that he's part of the military and she's a military experiment. And I don't know how that's going to play out into something, and how it's going to turn into like a final story that's not bad. Like, you know, we have to remember that the things we get in English are the cream of the crop, right? I mean, sure, a lot of them are pretty bad, but they have to be significantly important enough in Japan and be well enough liked in America or in the West in general to warrant getting them, right? So I'm curious to see if it's going to be good or if it's going to be bad. I'm not too sure. I'm excited to see, though. And so, yeah, I do wish there was color pages in this, just because Viz signatures, I feel like, should have color pages, especially when you can clearly see that they were in color and they just got grayed out. But that's just a general, you know, thing that I dislike about, you know, how Viz prints manga. So, yeah, then we have Record of Ragnarok number 4. And I'm really excited about this one. This one, I think, finally gets past what the anime covered, which I'm excited about. This is Kojiro Sasaki versus what's his name? Poseidon, which is cool. I'm not actually sure if this is when Jack the Ripper gets introduced. No, I think this is halfway through their fight. So we have one more volume, maybe 2, before we get into Jack the Ripper's story. So I'm really excited about that. And I can't wait for the next volume. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to reading this part of the fight, because that was one of the better ones in the anime. So yeah. Is that bad to say? Because I know everyone likes Zeus versus Adam, which I like too. But, you know, the anime did it in such a way that made people really angry. I didn't really care either way. But I feel like just action set piece wise, the Poseidon fight is way cooler than the Zeus fight. So I don't know. Then we have Witch Hat Atelier number 4. Great book. I had been having a really hard time finding this physically at my local stores. So I saw it on Amazon. I was making an order for some things that I needed for school. And so I decided to, you know, just get it as well. And I'm really happy that I did. I love this cover. I just love the artwork here so much. Kamome Shirahama is a great artist, and they really are one of my top artists when it comes to manga. So yeah, I mean, I'm really, really excited about this. And I love the creature design on the back here. These little penguin flying things are really, really fun. So yeah, there really isn't too much more to say. Now, the big boy here, the big reading assignment that I have for myself this month is the third major arc in Vinland Saga, which is contained in these 4 books and a little bit of volume 12. And it's the Eastern Expedition arc, which is kind of like post-slave arc. It's basically them going from Iceland back into Europe, and then into Greece eventually, to try to gain some money, to raise some money so that they can go fund their expedition to Vinland. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about this. I really love this story. I really love volume 8 specifically. Gunhild, or whatever her name is just a great character, and I can't wait for more. So yeah, that's it for that. I will buy volume 12 sometime this month so that I can read the whole arc and review it on the channel here soon. So yeah, that's really all there is to say about Vinland Saga. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to get into it. And then the final thing on the list here is Saint Seiya. Now, I do have a lot more Saint Seiya volumes, but I don't really want to have 2 giant reading assignments for myself this month. So we're only going to be covering the second half of volume 4 and the first half of volume 5 of this Kansenban edition, which contains the Silver Saints arc within the Sanctuary saga. So this is the middle portion of Sanctuary. The really important part of Sanctuary is the Gold Knights part, which is contained in all of those volumes, but I don't really want to read it right now, so I'm gonna wait until December. Then I'll read it through December, and this November there's gonna be a Black Friday sale basically, which they always have on Panini's website. So I'll probably end up picking up the next set of Saint Seiya books for the arc after that, so that in January, if I can get my books in December, I can do an arc review of that. So yeah, that's really all I have this month. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you guys are reading this month. And let me know if you agree with me about Record of Ragnarok. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and see you guys later.